face is gone. You felt the pressure rise to make a sacrifice, to fit in, be like everyone.
All right, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your meal. But while you're doing that, finishing it up, we want to get to our program. You know, tonight we have some other guests in the room that you may not know about. Two of our chapters have joined us as we are live streaming. That's right. We are live streaming this event to dive stores, their dive stores. Everyone, please turn around, look at the camera, and wave to the Denver Divers in Denver, Colorado, and Jim's Dive Shop in St. Petersburg, Florida. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Yeah. Okay, now you got to give them a big arg on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Arg! Yes, yes. It's so great that Dive Pirates has started to expand to other areas to offer folks in other regional parts of the country the opportunity to go down below the surface of the water and blow some bubbles. Now, I need Barbara to join me up here at the podium to tell us about these two special chapters. And I have to lift the microphone a little bit because Barb's a little bit taller than I am.
Only with heels. I cheat.
Well, my heels don't work with me tonight.
Your wife took your heels for the evening, I know. Okay, so as he said, the chapters, we have over 35 chapters around the U.S. We want to go global eventually, yes. And while you see a lot of activity here, and we do have a number of students and recipients here, a lot of them came from other chapters. We have people from San Antonio, from Dallas, Houston area here. We have people fly in from all over. And these chapters, each one of them are self-contained little dive pirate communities of their own, just like what you heard earlier about the community. And we like to reward and recognize those people go above and beyond. And what does above and beyond mean? You might put your own fundraiser together. You might train your student before we actually call and ask you to. We love initiative. Anyhow, a chapter that was really small at the beginning and kind of like, I'm not sure about you guys, but then once they got hooked, they said, yes, we're going to do this for life, is Jim's Dive Shop in St. Petersburg, Florida. And they're this year's chapter of the year. So let's give it up, all you there. And you can appreciate that Jim's Dive Shop is owned by a woman named Teresa. That makes sense. So Jim, Teresa, and Christy, your chief instructor there, who get us all done, and they have Allison and Cola coming on our trip this year in September. This bell's for you. There may be some shipping charges incurred, but we'll take it. So anyhow, we'll get this bell to you, but carry it proudly in your store as a Dive Chapter of the Year. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of our show live streaming. I'll turn over to you, Jose.
Barb is so good. She has the script below, but she does not even use the script. She just knows about everything dive pirates. Okay, you know, the people that fill this evening, this event last year, I should say, made some life-changing impacts on the lives of our recipients. Now we get to hear from our recipients in their own words about what diving and dive pirates means to them. I want to draw your attention to the video screens for a special video right now.
It's amazing. There's no other experience like it.
I've been trying to think about how to sum it up into words. Freedom, serenity, peace, amazing colors. To see all the organisms down there doing their thing. It's just unbelievable.
Never thought it would be so amazing. You know, here I am, first time out of the country, first time swimming in salt water. Here I am, 62, first time in salt water.
It's just one of those things I never thought I'd do. Always wanted to, but I never thought I'd have a chance.
Today we got down to almost 60 feet and saw just an array of coral, fish, you know, larger marine life. I knew there would be a lot of sea critters, but just they're so numerous that it's hard to even remember what all you saw.
There's also a certain angle when you see the other divers, you know, the bubbles that come up, and just everybody at the end waiting to come up to the boats. Looks pretty nice as well.
I kind of had an idea how good it was going to be, but you just don't know until you're down there swimming around, just saying this is just freaking awesome.
You see these young men and women who can go out into the ocean and they're just free. Because we have organizations like Dive Pirates that show that ability to go out and find that peace, tranquility, and serenity in their lives.
Diving, it's pretty neat. I just swim around with my arms and I can kick my legs a little bit. I don't use fins because when I use the fins, it's kind of the same thing with moving my legs like if I'm trying to walk normally, it'll tighten up. And so I decided not to use any of those, but it's kind of nice because it's just really light and I swim around and try to get into every nook and cranny that I can.
I've been in wheelchairs. I've had nerve damage to the left and right leg, and well, actually lower back, sacral, iliac, the head of my femur. After leaving the military, it felt like I was wrong. If anything, it gave me a reason to push myself to another goal, and I think that was a little spark.
I deployed to Iraq in 2003 for the initial invasion. I survived a year in combat and came back, was promoted twice, and with about 30 days left on my contract, I got sent back to Iraq for a whole year. I was blown up my second day. I survived. I was blown up on Christmas Day, survived. But on April 25th, they finally got me with what's called explosive forming penetrator. It's an IED, improvised explosive device. When it went off, it blew softball-sized holes through the whole vehicle. And my right leg was blown off instantly. I had my weapon between my legs, and it was blown in half. And then my left leg was blown in half, and I was looking at the bottom of my boot. It was very evident all the things I couldn't do anymore, and that was pretty depressing. So it's little by little, it's the things that I still could do that kept me going. And I've learned a new thing that I can do, and it's diving.
A little over 2.5 years ago, unfortunately got in a trauma accident. A car hit me from the back. I was carrying a heater, pulled over on the side of the road and put it behind the truck again. And another vehicle ran right into me as I was standing back of my pickup truck. And that was that. Got both of my legs amputated above the knee. I was in the hospital almost 4 months and just slowly recovering still, step by step, looking at all the positive.
I was an electric lineman, and back in 1988, I had an electrical accident that went in my left shoulder and came out both hands. My right hand was pretty much gone. It went back to mid-forearm, and that's where I wear the prosthesis. And my left hand, and shoulder, they had to do skin grafts, and were able to save my hand and shoulder, so I'd have a little bit of dexterity on one side.
To see these guys that are quadriplegics, that are paraplegics, that are amputees, diving it's unbelievable. I never in a million years would have thought people could do this and do it well. And to see them smile is just unbelievable.
You will never really know what your limits are until you really kind of push yourself and have somebody behind you backing you up.
My body doesn't have to be confined to a chair or to a seat, and I'm able to just move around. It's magical.
The amount of mobility I have in the water compared to on land is pretty amazing. I'm able to, freely move my arms and feel much more able-bodied than I do in my chair, kind of confined to the same position all day. In water, you can move and feel a bit like you did before your injuries.
Adventure, discovery, serenity, and every other great word that you can think of when you're dreaming.
Dive Pirates has just blown me out of the water with how nice everyone's been and how supportive and just encouraging to get out there and dive. And I just can't thank everyone who's contributed enough, and just please, keep doing it. You can make someone else's dream come true doing scuba diving, because it's just an amazing, amazing thing.
Thank you so much. It's honestly been a life-changing experience, and everyone who's involved with this foundation needs to know that they really are making an impact in people's lives that, normally wouldn't get to do something so awesome.
So much fun, and the training and the atmosphere is very overwhelming with the generosity and all the people and everybody is bending over backwards to make this week fun for us.
I really be saying thank you from the bottom of my heart, and hopefully they'll see that what kind of change it makes in people.
Everyone should be a part of this organization. If you're a diver in the United States of America, if you're a diver anywhere in the world, you should reach out. And Dive Pirates should be one of the great organizations globally, because think about it, how, no matter what country you served in, if you have some impairment, you can be a part of this great organization. You can be diving in the Pacific, you can be diving, wherever. And I think that that's what we want to do. We want to reach out and take dive pirates to be all across this great nation.
To be afforded to do this, to see all these other people smiling, coming together, solving problems, enjoying it. Just thank you very much.
This has been a lifelong opportunity, especially getting to meet people and see the challenges that they had to overcome to get here, and hearing their stories. You all have put together an incredible group of people, and I'm just glad to be a part of that. It's been a wonderful gift.
Wow. Every year the videos get better and better. New voices talking about the new experiences that they've gone through. It is a wonderful thing to go down, know some things, and then come back to the surface with a wonderful smile on your face. And you can talk about that smile and the experience to others who probably told you, if you are disabled, that you can't do that. But Barb and Sophie have proven that what they started 14 years ago continues on and will continue to grow. And who knows, it will be global sometime in the near future. Something Sophie and Barb should be very, very proud of. Now, one of the special people in the video is with us tonight. I'm talking about retired Staff Sergeant Luke Murphy. Now, Luke has a remarkable story, and he agreed to come all the way from Florida to share his story with us tonight. So please give a pirate welcome to tonight's recipient honoree, Luke Murphy. Arrgh! Arrgh!
All right. I like it. Arr. It was my goal to have the deepest R of the night. Hopefully I got it. Folks, it is my pleasure to be here tonight, to be here with the Dive Pirates. This is a family, I've soon realized, and my wife Stephanie and I are so honored to be here. You know, we've never been to Houston, and we flew in to a place we've never been, and we're picked up by our dive instructor, Scott Copsey, who took the day off, you know, Mr. Engineer in the oil and gas industry. We appreciate it. Sorry, Steve, I don't know if you took the day off. And his unbelievable wife, Shelly, who is a very driven, successful residential realtor in Houston. Thank you for taking the day off and showing us around today and having lunch with us. And thank you for everybody that came. And thank you, Barbara, for giving me this opportunity. So my family came to this country at the perfect time in the 1800s. It was the Civil War. And we came from Ireland, and we liked to fight, and we were poor and hungry, and there was never a better opportunity. And unfortunately, some of my family went down in the very first year they were here. Before they ever became an American, they died for this country. We had family that fought in World War I, family that fought in World War II, in Africa, in Italy, all the way to the Bulge with this guy named Patton, and family that was prisoners of war. My dad himself was a United States Marine, and when I turned 17, I joined the Army. But I love my daddy. Folks, I was taught to love this country. I was taught to serve this country. I was taught to believe in something way, way bigger than myself. And it was April 25th, 2006. I'm on my second tour in combat. And it wasn't the first time I got blown up, but it was the first time that I felt a lot of heat and a lot of pain. And I looked down and my right leg was gone. It was blown right off. My left leg was blown in half. And my first thought was, this ain't good. I'm a very deep thinker, people. But thank you. My second thought was, how the hell do I get my guys out of this truck? You know, my initial thought was, how do you help everybody else? And I had no answer to that. So I'm trapped in this burning Humvee. We're rolling down the road, and I start yelling at the driver, crash the truck, crash the truck. And we're rolling through Solder City, Baghdad, real nice area. And, you know, I knew we didn't have a lot of time. And I see the guy stomping on the brakes, but the brake lines have melted. And I saw him trying to get the Humvee out of gear, but the round that had gone through my legs was lodged in the transmission. There was one option, crash the truck. My driver crashed that truck right into the wall of Solder City. And immediately when he hit, I almost was knocked out for the second time, but I wasn't. And I thought, well, I can't get anybody out of this truck, so I'm going to sit in this burning vehicle until they at least get out. And they did. And once they did, I realized it was time to try to get out. And I was in the front right seat. And if anybody's been in the military recently, you realize they surround you with all kinds of garbage that you just can't go that way or that way, but only that way. And my door was buckled in, and it weighed about 400 pounds. And it was halfway through a 10-foot wall, and I just couldn't open it. And I had no legs to push with. So I started shouldering that door until I knocked it off the hinges. I think I might have had a little help. I crawled down the ground, and I crawled about 8 or 9 feet without any legs. And I started going to sleep. And I needed some sleep. I hadn't slept in days. And I started dreaming. And believe it or not, I saw my mom in my dream. And she was wearing a black veil, and she was crying. And it was then that I realized that she was at my funeral, and I was dying. And you know, my dad was proud of me, but my mom never signed up for the military. And right there, I said, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to do this to my mom. And I fought like hell to stay awake. My guys saved me. They got me to a hospital. I spent a year in Walter Reed. I was around hundreds of guys that were disabled, from burns to double amputees, triple amputees, quadruple amputees. It was unbelievable. I learned quickly not to complain around guys that had been hurt worse than me. It was kind of a pecking order, you know, at Walter Reed. It was very evident all the things I couldn't do anymore. I would lay in my bed 24 hours a day for months, losing weight with infections that the doctors couldn't cure. And one thought after another, one negative thought after another rifled through my mind. You know, you'd never be able to chase your kid down and stop from running into traffic. You're never going to be able to do this. You're never going to be able to do that. It was one thing after another. It was the most pain I ever felt. I was awake all the time. And then when I did drift off, it was vitals, boom, waking up, some nurse checking me to make sure I'm still alive. It wasn't until I started doing very, very small things that I realized I could still do some things. And those things led me to think, well, what else can I do? And it was baby steps, folks. It was standing up for the first time. It was going to the bathroom standing up for the first time. It was my first step, my second step, my 100th step. Then it was skiing a Black Diamond. Then it was skiing Aspen. And then it was dive pirates. And I just, never met anybody that would do so much for so many people. And, my wife and I, we flew into Cayman Brac. We saw people that were hurt way worse than us, and we saw smiles. And we saw, a flag. I remember it said something about, like, it's not about disabilities, it's about abilities. And, I get flown around the country to talk about people, to talk about motivation, to talk about inspiration. And here I am being blown out of my seat. And, it was really a life-changing experience, the Dive Pirates. And, it's, you think about all these great organizations out there, but who takes care of people as good as the Dive Pirates? Who takes care of this kind of people that the Dive Pirates takes care of? What kind of folks go to these places like Scott and, take my wife and I on our first open saltwater dive? Thank you, Scott. I would really appreciate that, sir. And thank you. Yeah. And then we met Todd, like right off the bat, quadriplegic, smiling. Next time I see him, he's standing on the ocean floor, quadriplegic, unassisted. I mean, folks, I've been all over the world. I have seen folks from every background, every problem. I've never seen a quadriplegic out of his chair, diving with a smile on his face. And no, but I mean, literally, I mean, it's like my mind's going crazy. And yeah, it's just, it's unbelievable. And, I don't have a lot of time tonight, but I just want to say a few things. Been all over the country, all over the world. I gave my right leg, no big deal. I'm a pimple on the world's butt. Really. But this organization, it's incredible. There isn't a more qualified group of people to be helping. There's not a more qualified staff. And there certainly isn't a more generous group of people funding this than all of you. You've certainly changed hundreds of lives. You've certainly, like Chris said, you've changed the world's life. We're going to places now they're building for us. That's normal in America. It's not normal in other places. And, you don't have to do it. But I for one, appreciate it. I, for one, have always asked myself, what else can I do? I never thought that I could dive. I never thought that I'd have the gear. I never thought I'd be able to take my wife to the Cayman Islands and meet all of you great people. But what I've learned is the Dive Pirates not only a mission. The Dive Pirates is a family. And I'm proud to be part of this family. I want to help in the future, like Ed and Gail. I'm going to kick your butt too in the future. You wait. I'm going to out-donate you guys. Let me get a little older. Age is a privilege, y'all. But, yes, ma'am. But this is a privilege, been asked to come here to talk to y'all, to share what a great group this is, to share my table with a Navy SEAL who gave his eye and only wants to give more and serve in the United States Congress. I mean, what better candidate to save to the swamp than a Navy SEAL? Stand up, Mr. Crenshaw, real quick, please. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Barbara, for inviting him. Folks, I was given a very short time tonight, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. There's no greater philanthropy. There's no one out there that could change the trajectory of someone's life like mine than this one. And, I've experienced some great highs and some really bad lows. But until you help someone else, you really don't know that great feeling it is to help someone else. And I've been helped so much, and I'm so thankful for it, Barbara. And I'm so thankful for it for all of you who've donated to the Dive Pirates. God bless y'all, and God bless the Dive Pirates. Arr! Thank you.
No, 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 no. Luke, 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 Luke. You need to stay up here. You're dropping cards around here, huh?
You know.
Wonderful words, man.
Thank you.
And what you're saying is the true expression from someone who has had the experience of doing something that you probably thought you'd never be able to do, you know, but now you know what it is and you want to spread the word.
It's infectious.
You know?
I want everybody to experience what I've experienced, what Chris has experienced. I want to hit 100 dives. I was in the Caymans when you did it. My first dive was your 100th dive. Come on.
You know, we are just so very proud that you've decided to come from Florida, good ways now, you know, to share your experience, to share your
That's right.
You know, as they say, most people come here, they try and find the quickest way, and he did this time. He really did. You know, you've just done some amazing things, and we want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for being another dive pirate too.
Thank you.
Now, there is something. Yeah, I guess it does have his name on it.
Because we are pirates,
Uh-huh.
we're somewhat nautical.
Uh-huh.
We don't want you to get lost.
Arg.
So here's your very own eyepiece.
Oh,
eyeglass.
thank you so much.
Actually, yes. And
Oh, wow.
One of my members
Hey,
of my
hey.
family helped found this out for you. There you
Land ho!
Nigga, don't you be talking about no hoes in here, okay? Don't you do that. But then ho means helping others excel.
Hey, that's
Congratulations, and thank you so very much for sharing your time with us this evening. Okay, now you've seen the video and you've heard from Luke. Now it's time to make this happen for someone else. So will our wonderful auctioneer, Valerie Grimm, can you join us up here on the podium? Because you always do a fabulous job. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am very honored to be here tonight. I want to thank each of you for being here. We appreciate you more than we could say. It makes me incredibly proud when I think about an organization coming together like Dive Pirates does for a common goal. It's so exciting and it's just so inspiring. And when you hear someone share their personal story, like Staff Sergeant Luke Murphy, who did so eloquently. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Yes. And in the video where you heard the gratitude of other recipients that have shared these experiences, and they're just so grateful. That's life-changing, absolutely life-changing. And the chapters are growing, and there's more recipients to share this experience with. In order to do that, we need your help. This is a fantastic and very exciting opportunity this evening for you to give, to share these life-changing experiences. So I'm going to ask for 100% participation tonight. Please consider, I'm going to ask at different levels. There's going to be a level that's right for everyone here tonight. My first level is at Queen Anne level. This level is $10,000 and includes the training, the gear, and the trip for not only the recipient, but also the dive buddy. At the $10,000 level, anyone, please raise your hand if you'd like to donate at the Queen Anne level of $10,000. And don't be shy. Let us see you. I've got one right here, ladies and gentlemen. 320. Amazing. That's the generosity that we know is in this room. 320. Thank you so much. Thank you. My next level is Blackbeard level. This is $5,000, and this includes training, gear, and the dive for the recipient. Is there anyone here that would like to donate $5,000 for a recipient to experience this? Any hands? I've got one over here. Thank you. 349. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Another example of the generosity. Thank you. Thank you so much. My next level is $2,500, excuse me, Captain Hook level. And this covers the dive trip for the recipient. At $2,500, I've got one right here. She didn't hesitate. I've got another one. That was $146. At the $2,500 level, $152 at the $2,500 level. And I can't necessarily see you behind these pillars. I've got Hector over here to my right helping me, and Eddie over here on my left. Feel free to turn your bids into them. I've got another one here, $348 at $2,500. Let me hear you thank him. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. My next level is $1,000. This is the Jacks. We have one more $2,500 level. What was the number? Thank you. 213. 213. Thank you so much. Another $2,500. My next level is Jack Sparrow, and this covers the airfare of the recipient to the Cayman Bragg. This is $1,000 level, and I've got one over here. Can you turn it? 355 302 160 338 337 352 114. Right in front of me, 306. I've got another one on this side. I've got 231. Thank you so much. Wow, y'all are amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have more levels. $500 is the next level. This is the Davy Jones, and it covers the dive computer console for the recipient. At the $500 level, can I see your cards now? $500 level. Got one over here, 227. That's 227 at $500. 214, 172, 364, 359. Don't let me miss you. $500. 202. Anyone else at $500? Are you feeling it? I love the energy in this room. $500, that was fantastic. My next level is beg your pardon. Why am I getting those confused tonight? $250 to Calico Jack level. And already cards are going up. This covers the personal snorkel system for the recipient. If you'll turn it this way for me. 368, thank you. 376, 301, 309, 181, 324. Don't let me miss you. 382, 201, 133, 361. Now this side of the room, 233, 303. Yes, ma'am. Give yourselves a hand. You're fantastic. I'm trying to not cry up here. 117. Anyone else? That was the $250 level. Anybody else? 355. 355. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You are so generous. My last level tonight, and this is where I'm hoping for 100% participation. If we haven't called your number out, or even if we have and you want to give another $100 and have a little fun, feel free. This is the Captain Kidd level, and it covers this recipient's mask and snorkel. But we're going to do something a little bit fun on this level. We have a gift package of leather goods, and I'm looking for them. Not sure. There they are. They'll come around the room. You'll see them. It's a beautiful package of leather goods, like a passport cover, and it has the Dive Pirate logo on there. So every hand in the air will be a $100 donation. And the last hand in the air, when I get finished, will be the recipient of this leather goods package. Sound like fun? Who wants to own it first? Every hand is a $100 donation, and I've got $100 here, $175. $146 just took it, $342, $352, $319, $332, $375, $241, $316, $177, $365, $219, $160, $280, $170, $294, $310, $336, $119, $304, $228. She now has $376. She just stole it. So those are $100 each time a hand goes in the air. $325 will be receiving. $152 just beat you out. $361, $172, $392, $183, $267 has the leather goods. Until I turn my head. I'm so sorry. $146, $202, $358. Barb has it right. $352, she just took it. $304, another $100. $114, another $100. And the package is over here, going once. $322, $348, $304. I can't see them. $370 owns it right now. $352 has the leather goods. Another $100 donations. I saw $303 first. $349 has it now. Going once. Going, $352. And they're having a battle over here. That's why we don't give them real swords. $304. And they stole it over here. $350. Whoa, but $349 just made $100. $349 has it going. Whoa, $362. $352. $202. $314's got it right now. $352 is back in the game. She's going to give another $100 to take that leather goods away from you. Going once. $304, $349, $302, $352 is back in the game. She's got it. $302, $362, $146, $304, $302, $349, going once, $352, another $100 donation. Going once to $352. $320 just took it. $304, another $100. $146, $326, $348, going once. $352, give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen, another $100, and going once. $358. $358 is going once. $304, $352, going once. $368, she's back in the game. You want back in? He's got it right now. I've got another $100. No? $352, she's back in again. Going once. $320, going once. Going twice. $114, $355, $352. Going once, going twice. 383. 215, another $100, ladies and gentlemen. Each time they bid, it's $100 to the pot. Going once, going twice. I saw 320 over here. 314 again. And 352. Going once, going twice. 320. 114, going once, going twice. 175, 145, 145 has it over here. Going once, going twice. This is where you stick your card in the air. Oh, I got 348, 352. Going once, going twice. I got 320 and 114. Going once, going twice. 358 is in again. 358, going once, going twice. Oh, who do you have? 125. 145, I beg your pardon. 145 has it. Going once, going twice. 215. We got 215 owns it right now. I got 359 on this side. And I have once, twice, 320, 370. Now 352 owns it, another $100. Going once, going twice, and I've gone. 352. Man, you guys are awesome. What a generous crowd.
A generous crowd because of you and the way you do things. You make it fun, you know, and it's supposed to be fun because we're here to enjoy ourselves and support a wonderful cause, and that is Dive Pirates. So thank you so very much. Yeah. Valerie, you do a really good job. Thank you so very much for you and the time that you give to us every year. Okay, now, the next person I'm going to call up, you've probably heard of. He's a big radio star here in Houston, but not just on radio at 740 KTRH from 8 to 11 in the morning and 5 to 7 at night. He's syndicated in Baton Rouge, Portland, San Antonio, Nashville, Albany, Birmingham, Waco, Beaumont, and Atlanta. I knew him when he wasn't big time, but he is really big time now, and he really knows how to talk about this community, to talk about veterans, and to talk about things that are important to you and to me. He's a big supporter of our military and even a bigger supporter of the human spirit. So please put your hands together and give him a big pirate welcome to the podium. And we're talking about Mr. Michael Berry.
Thank you, Jose. Arr! I wish I'd known I would have practiced my my pirate speak if I'd known that we were going this deep into piracy for the evening. Oh, that's probably not going to work, but that's all right. Good evening. It's a real honor to be here with you this evening. I know everybody starts a speech that way, but it actually really is a distinct honor to get to be in the company of some people who I will never know your story, but I feel like I know your story. A rough day for me consists of coming downstairs, having overslept because I drank too much the night before, and my wife has not replenished the Frosted Flakes, and my whole world begins to spiral. If you've seen Rain Man, that's me. I go into apoplectic neurosis, and nothing functions, and life is all wrong. And I convince myself that I am, engaged in a great struggle, and that I am a victim, and that it's not fair, and that this is the worst day ever. And then you hear a story about a guy visualizing his mother at his funeral. No mother should have to bury their child, and no child should have to visualize his mother burying him. Sergeant Nelson, if she's that good a realtor, then she sold you a house today, because I'd really like to have you as my neighbor. This community would be the richer for it. And I don't know what it is about these guys who come back with these awful wounds of war, but somehow that's incredibly attractive because their wives are always the hottest women ever. I told Crenshaw, you can't see her, but she's beautiful, Dan. She's absolutely beautiful. So Dan Crenshaw leans over and he says, I don't know if y'all know his story, but Marcus Luttrell is a dear, dear friend of mine and an American hero and a patriot and an incredible human being and a mentor to me and my kids. And I've learned a lot about the SEAL community and how crazy these guys are. And I don't mean that in a complimentary way. They really are nuts. You've got to have, in a society like ours, you have to have warriors. And these guys, they're warriors in every sense of it. So when Marcus calls and says, have I ever asked you to support a political candidate? No. I'm asking you to support Crenshaw. You say, all right, where is he on the issues? He's right on everything. Don't worry about it. So I know his story, and I love his story, and I appreciate his service. And he leans over and he says, man, I got to tell you, this is an organization where I fit. And I said, oh, you mean the patch on the eye? And he said, no, that wasn't one. It was just a really good organization. Nice. Thanks for that, Dan. Thanks for that. And I think he's giving away a shoot with Dan Crenshaw when this is over in the auction. So please run that up, because this guy's, let me tell you something. If you ever meet a Navy SEAL from now to the coming years, and you will meet some famous guys, and you say, Dan Crenshaw is my buddy, they will stop you and say, Dan Crenshaw is a good man. I've seen it. So you want to buy that shoot. That's going to be worth your time. Yeah. So I first want to say thank you all for being quiet. I appreciate that. I'm used to sitting in a studio. I saw an exchange between Barbara and the woman who books my speeches, and there are a series of questions that she asked. What do you want him to talk about? And she said, "Oh, I wouldn't dare tell him what to talk about. He entertains people for 5 hours a day." And I didn't have the heart to say, yeah, but I've got an emotional support peacock in there. I've got Ramon. I've got producer Kenny. I've got Charlie Q. Liquor. I've got Justin. I've got Sam. I can't do it on my own. Tell me what to talk about. But I couldn't say that because, I was already supposed to speak. So, and when I'm in my studio and I don't like what you have to say, or if you're talking when I'm talking, I can just turn you off, right? But you go give a speech. It's a live audience is tough. So thank you for having me. It's a real honor. I will tell you, Henry's speech at Agincourt ends where he says that those who are not here, they're about to go into battle against the French. And they're about to go into battle, and they're about to lose. And he says that those back home in years to come will hold their manhoods cheap because they were not here with us on this day. And I will tell you, I hold my manhood cheap next to the men and women who go off and serve this country. And every single one of them is a hero. Whether you come home wounded or not, it is, as Elijah said, here am I, send me. The willingness to go and give your eye, your leg, your back, your life, the willingness to do that is what makes someone a hero. I'm grateful that y'all are doing this evening, but I'm more grateful than what's done in here for what you do out in the water, Barbara. It's truly amazing. It is truly amazing that people have a heart for other people. And I say, look, I didn't serve my country. I didn't come home with physical wounds or emotional wounds, but there is a role for every one of us in the Republic. And I've taken up as my role that if we're going to have a parade, we've got to have some people on the sidewalk to cheer for the people who deserve to be in that parade. And that's my job, is to be a drum major for those people. And that's why I'm here with you this evening. And my friend who also served, he is a veteran. He's on the board of this organization. And he's been diving since 1985. And he has really made this a passion of his. He does a lot for this community. And I'm very, very fond of Cubans because I think they're special, passionate people. He's just a wonderful human being, and I want to say thank you to Jose Grignon. You do a lot for this community. You do. Jose has been a friend of mine for many years, long before I was in the radio. We have a lot of friends in common, and he is just a fantastic guy. And I don't know if D'Artagnan is here this evening, but I know D'Artagnan is involved. He may not be, but D'Artagnan Babel, who is the station manager at Fox 26. We've got some great stations and some great media people here. If you ever hear me criticize on the radio, media people and their biases and the things I don't like about what they do, if you listen carefully, I will actually say, but that does not apply in Houston. These people are committed to this community. They give back a lot. And they do things like this evening where they give of their time for our veterans. So thank you for your service in so many ways, Jose. So the Apostle Paul wrote a series of letters from jail. And they kept telling him, if you'll just stop evangelizing, we'll let you out. And he couldn't do it. It was on his heart. And those letters comprise much of the New Testament of the Bible, and I think they're beautiful literature, even if you're not a Christian, and there is great advice in there. So I'm going to reference Philippians 4:8, which was the Apostle Paul's letter to the Philippians, not verbatim because it's lengthy, but whether you're a Christian or even a person of faith or just a member of mankind, he had a very beautiful phrase where he said, find the positive things, find the virtuous things, those things that are honest and pure and praiseworthy. And the Greek reference is, and dwell on those things. And so I mention this on the radio sometimes. I was at a bar mitzvah. I'm Southern Baptist, but a friend of mine is Jewish, and his son, we were at the bar mitzvah, and the rabbi brought a beautiful message, and the message was about dwelling on things. And, we don't use the term dwelling very often unless we're saying, my mom dwells on the fact that I'm still smoking, or my wife dwells on, me not taking out the trash. Dwell has a pejorative sense in modern vernacular. But dwell is a very powerful word, and it's used, or at least the translation in English from the Bible on many occasions. The idea that you would focus your mind the way the special forces focus their mind and visualize a situation before it's going to happen. The way when you're on a diet and you've got a poster up of six-pack abs, I'm dwelling on that. Had a guy that I worked with, and he was determined he was going to lose this weight, and in his car he had a picture of a six-pack. He said, that's going to be my six-pack. That is dwelling on a thought. And the Apostle Paul said that we should find those good, decent, just, honorable, positive, praiseworthy, virtuous things, and we should dwell on them. I'm going to introduce one time and then move on the fact that there was horrible news that came out of Florida this week. And if you turned on a television, there was a loop of things that, in my opinion, violate the privacy of the people who were victims and their family members, even the onlookers. And that bothers me, and it bothers me a great deal. And the problem is, when I was growing up, my dad was a maintenance worker at DuPont in Orange, and he didn't have an education, but he wanted me to have an education. And so he bought 2 newspaper subscriptions. And for a man who managed his money very carefully because he didn't have much, it was because he wanted me to know the news. And he believed that before I went to school every day, I should be able to tell him what was in the news. You get up early, You read what's in the news. You need to be an informed citizen of the republic. And so there was this idea of the news. The news was important. And somewhere along the way, I think that we all became confused with what is important in being aware of our surroundings versus this graphic, awful, macabre sort of rubbernecking. It's almost a voyeurism for other people's misfortune. It's Schadenfreude in the worst possible, most cynical way. And I find it disturbing that I will go places and people will mention a serial killer's name or a man who massacres school children. I have an 11 and a 12-year-old. People who kill children, I mean, killing anyone is awful, but killing a child, you have to be a monster. Why would we ever learn their name? I've found from my friends in the military that you remember, thank you. I've found from my friends in the military that you remember things as a way of honoring them. We memorialize, right? Why do we buy a slab of marble and put it out in the grass and go look at? Because that's how we remember, because remembering is honoring. I'm suggesting that we forget. We forget those people. We forget their manifesto. We forget the attention they sought, and that we focus on things that are virtuous and praiseworthy and honorable. And I say that not with regard to the news. I say that with regard to our personal lives. And I guess I'm sort of preaching to the choir because you're already here this evening. But some of you were brought because your spouse brought you, or a client brought you, or a friend brought you, or whatever your reason that you ended up here. There is a purpose to that. I do believe that there is a purpose for that. And some of you in here came this evening and you thought it was going to be an interesting evening, and it turned out to be that and more. A group of fascinating people. Maybe the company you were with was going to be wonderful. But let me challenge you this evening. You know, if you think about in your own life, the things that you've done that made a difference. My wife ran 5 marathons. She came from India. She'd never run before. And I remember watching her do that. And I laughed. You can't run a marathon. I'm the runner in the family, and I wasn't even that good. I ran cross country in high school, and we were terrible. But you can't run a marathon. And I watched her in her own little corner of the world change herself into a marathon runner. And I look at the things that you watch somebody going through a smoking cessation. Smoking is hard to quit. You watch an alcoholic who says, I've got a problem. I'm going to stop drinking. There's no press release. There's no national parade. But for a person going through rehab for some sort of an addiction, for those of you who've been through it, it is all consuming. It is all powerful. It requires everything you can possibly muster to get through it. Imagine if we applied that level of personal commitment to doing good things. I talk a lot about veterans on the radio because I see it as a mission of mine. And one of the things I find is I can say, you know, the VA failed this guy. I get letters from veterans and they are hopping mad, and they should be, because they've waited too long for their treatment and they deserve better, or there's some problem here or some problem there. And there have been investigations, and it's been proven that that the VA is in many cases, not always, but far too many cases, failing our veterans. And I find that I can whip my audience and any audience of people into a fervor over how mad we are at that damn VA. And people are very good in 2018 at being angry. If you want them to boycott or call and cuss somebody or not buy a product, and by God, count me in. But if you spin that and say, I tell you what, why don't we instead, that'll be there. You'll still have the opportunity to be mad. But how about if instead we focus on something good? How about if we take the Apostle Paul's advice to the Philippians to heart? What if instead of just going to a parade or on the appropriate days posting a flag on our Facebook page, and I'm not saying that's not important, because veterans will see that and that's meaningful. Widows of those who didn't come home will see that, and it's meaningful. You remembered. And as we said earlier, remembering is honoring, committing something to remember, to our memory. When someone is gone on the anniversary of their death or their birthday, we remember, we honor them, right? But instead of just remembering and honoring those who we've lost, why is it that somebody has to die before we tell them how wonderful they are? Why is it that a musician has to be gone before we rush out to buy their album? And I've done it too. Why can't we honor those who are still among the living? Why can't we focus ourselves on positive things? If you're not a veteran, you can see in this room this evening and hear just a few of the stories, but I guarantee you there are so many more stories that if these people stood up and told you, it would absolutely, as Henry said, it would force you to hold your manhood cheap. And ladies, as a mother, if you're a mother, it'd make you think, my goodness, his mother had to know he was going off to war. As a wife, it makes you have to think, how would I handle my husband being gone and worrying about answering the phone or the door because I don't want some guy in a suit or 2 or 3 of them to come up and knock on the door so that every time you hear that tap, 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 you've got that fear he's not coming home. For those of us who didn't have to go through that, I think it's our responsibility as citizens in the public, perhaps far more important than voting or paying taxes, to honor, to remember, to pay tribute to those who are paying the biggest cost of it all, whether they come home alive, missing part of their body, missing part of their soul. Marcus Luttrell at the end of Lone Survivor says, I left a part of me on the side of that mountain. And he did. If you talk to him, you will know. He can tell you the names, the birth dates, the social security numbers, the details of the men he left behind. It's powerful. There's a part of him that's dead and that won't come back. And he knows that. And every single one of you who served knows that. They're not just missing a part of their body. They're missing a part of their lives. They're missing something they didn't bring home. And that's not your fault. You didn't cause that. You paid into the treasury that funded the materials of war they needed. But there's so much more required of us. And Barbara, I want to say thank you to you because you've put this together to make this happen. The important work that y'all are doing is not here this evening. This evening is so that these guys can talk about their 100th dive, so that these guys can know we're remembering. Sergeant Nelson said I think he said a pimple on the butt of the world, which made me wonder what dermatological abrasion I was, but because I'm smaller than he is. What's smaller than a pimple, Sergeant Nelson? But it does make you stop and think, what more could I do? How could I help? How can I make sure we remember? And not just a visit to the cemetery. We have those walking among us every day, standing in line in front of us at the grocery store or behind us. And maybe if it's been enough years, their gait is sufficiently paced that you don't know that they're walking with a prosthetic leg. Maybe you don't know the wounds, physical and mental, that they're suffering from. So this isn't the only way you can help our veterans, but I'll tell you what, it's one way, and it sure seems to be a fantastic way. So I hope before this evening is over, if you are able, that you'll make one more contribution to this organization, that you'll make a commitment, that you'll be a part in one way or another of the great work they're doing. And you might not can go on the dives. You might be like me, that the only bubble you're making under the water is in the bathtub and my head's still above it. You do the math. But there's probably, thank you to those of you guys, there's probably something in your life with your skill set that is your ministry that you can offer to these good people. And I want to close with one final comment. I'm not going to ask you to stand up. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. Maybe you did this before I got here. I apologize. I did a show till 7, and then I had my son's birthday, and we had to cut the cake, and that's the highlight of my day. But I want to ask our veterans and only our veterans to raise your hand and let us give you a round of applause and say thank you to you for all that you do. We got the dogs excited. So let me close with this statement. That's the call to action. I'm a Southern Baptist. We'll probably have an altar call, every head bowed, every eye closed. I'm just kidding. Unless somebody plays softly and tenderly, and then we will have an altar call. Finally, I want to say thank you to those of you who have. Open your heart and your wallet. All of you, you know who you are. Your names, your company names are flashed up there. For all that you do, you know, the old proverb, plant a tree whose shade you'll never get to enjoy. I think about how much good will be done in years to come. I don't know where the next Sergeant Nelson is. Unfortunately, he may just now being shipped off. But the reality is we're going to have men and women coming home, and they're going to have wounds, and they're going to have needs. And I love the fact that we're chopping firewood before we need it. We're making plans because we know it'll be needed. We can't keep those young men and women safe. We can't protect them. We can't defend them. We can't secure their post or fire on a guy to keep him from shooting at them. But what we can do when they come home is we can welcome them. We can love them. We can do for them. And not me, but some of you, we can take them under the water and for a brief moment make them forget all those things and feel wonderful about their lives. And that's what you do. And I want to say thank you to you for that.
Oh, come on, folks. You can give them a better round of applause, a better thank you than that.
We'd like to say thank you for coming out here. Say thank you. We treat all of our pirates with a special pirate thing, but I'm a little embarrassed because you pointed at me a lot, and there's a lot of people in this room that make this happen, okay? All right, I'm mic'd up. Okay. Y'all know there's a lot of you that do a lot of this stuff. You kept pointing at me like I was some miracle worker, and I'm not. But I want to remind all of you the genesis of Dive Pirates. You have the three co-founders right here. So I want to recognize Sophie Wimberly and Naughty Nettie the Red for coming up with this. Because, you know, in Texas, when you say to talk about one person, it's y'all, and then when it's several people, it's all y'all. So all y'all need to know this. But anyhow, Michael, thank you. And say nice things. And we really feel bad that it was Crockett's birthday, and we were going to get him a coonskin hat, but we figured by the time he's 11, he probably had several. But for you, you need to become a pirate. So this is your first step towards that. So you may have some fabulous, fabulous attire. There's your pirate swag. Yes. And I dare you to wear these shorts at the Redneck Country Club. And here's your baggie.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all yours. Thank you so much for everything you did. And before we move into the next thing, I want to say thank you, Jose. We know that sometimes you get lost. So we have for you your very own sextant. So you can help you in your commute every day to work. I realize it's probably not going to work very well for you because you go to work at 3 in the morning and the sun's not out, but maybe, you know, when we're having one of those clips. But anyhow, thank you. Just knocking it out of the park one more time. Yep.
I have to figure out how to use it.
That's right. But give it up. I just want to give for Sophie and Nettie and all the stuff that they do, and well deserved. So, guys.
But she hasn't told you the story how this all started. So in reality, we were on the BRAC in 2003, in March, our first trip ever to the BRAC. And we were at Aunt Shaw's having dinner. So we were talking about this idea that Barbara had of starting a little club with her closest friends called the Dive Pirates. And in order to become part of this club, you have to steal something. You had to document it, and then you had to like make sure that people knew about this story and then come up with some goofy pirate name. However, we walk out of the restaurant and then he goes, you mean like this? Boop. She'd stolen the coaster at Aunt Shaw's on the BRAC, and that's how it started. So thank you, Nettie.
All right. All right, we're going to take it off now. Valerie, we're going to bring up this lady one more time, and we're going to have some fun. So thank you. Yeah, we're going to make it rain. Okay. Wait a sec. Okay, so that's that. Make sure we just got to stay on script. Teresa, we're staying on script, I promise. Okay. Okay. I'll read from the script this time. That concludes our program. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. We're going to have an auction. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Valerie.
Thank you so much. Our first item is going to be lot number 300. Are y'all ready for a live auction? You ready to have some fun?